So here we have our ink du jour, which is one of my favourites. This is a wonderful chromatic ink that does some really amazing things. It's ink called Earl Grey, and if you wrote with a fountain pen with it, it would be literally grey. So as you can see here, we've got pinks and blues and dark bits and light bits, and yeah, it's quite a fun ink to use, or you can just use it as a straightforward grey. Now we're going to be doing a bit of both here. I'm going to be using a dry brush technique to create some sort of waves and some interesting details, and then we're going to go in and actually painting in a mid to foreground with some grasses and some little fluffy bits, and then what I might do is drop some super clean water right in the front of the foreground and create some blooms. So we're going to take this ink in its semi-dilute form. I'm going to use the pipette, and I'm going to put 2, 3, 4, 5 drops in there, and then I'm going to suck up a whole thing of water and put it in there, and then I'm going to take another bit of water. Basically I'm diluting it, and I'll dilute it down to the point. I'll mix that in and you can see. Now if I get a scrap bit of paper here, it's going to look a bit like this. So a lightish grey. Now when it dries, it's going to be like that. So suck some of that up in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a C now. Now how that's going to look is at the back, there's going to be some small waves here. And they're going to be a little bit shorter. And as we're going to come forward, those waves are going to get bigger. And I'm going to turn that over so that I can get the lines behind. And then at the front here, we get some more on. These waves are going to be really big, like this. So literally that's all I'm going to do for the C, if you know what I mean. It's just a gestural sort of semi-abstract. So might go back and revisit that in a bit. Okay. So we're going to do, in the foreground here, we're going to do some foliage. But before I do that, I want to dry just what I've done here. Talking of making it up as I'm going along, which I feel like I am a little bit with this one. What I might do is I might get a little bit more water on there and a little bit more ink and actually add in a few more details, just quite roughly. Just try and get a bit more texture in there. That's better. Okay. So we're going to do the bottom piece now. So to do the bit along the bottom, I'm going to use just the actual raw, unadulterated, undiluted ink. So I'm going to take that with this little brush straight from the pot. So this is quite a long, springy brush, which obviously I've not 100% dried this. And now I'm going to try and keep this foreground a little bit sort of wet in wet. And then here we're going to do the same. So we've got a little bit of a gap at that side. There we go. Trying to be a little bit abstract. I'm trying to sort of suggest grass and foliage, and then I'm going to go and put a load more of this in down here. Now you'll see why I'm doing that in a sec. I think one of the reasons why it's quite, getting the seaside is it's a nice place to sketch and paint, and particularly approach in a slightly abstract way is because it is very elemental. It isn't necessarily something that is too literal, if you know what I mean. It can be seen as something which is spiritual is a bit of a strong word, but you know what I mean. Is in essence it's a pretty raw place. Right, so I'll probably leave that there, with the exception of putting in some seagulls. Hopefully, it'll have some ink in. I'll just see if it's actually playing the game. Yeah, this is great for things like seagulls because obviously the flex gives you a lot of a sort of interesting feel to the. And then we'll do some higher up, a bit smaller, look a bit further back. There we go. Yeah, so that's cool. I like that. So yeah, a little trip to the seaside for 10 minutes. I hope you enjoy that. For all my patrons, there's loads more to come. So we'll see you again. See you next time. Bye bye.